listing. I think it's probably the most important factor that listing agents overlook.
So the big question is, what are the top agents doing to absolutely crush it in real estate, grow their teams, and add more transactions year over year while so many struggle? If you ever thought about this, you're not alone. No one has been able to get the answers until now.
We spent the last few years helping agents sell billions in real estate, rubbing shoulders with top producers, which got us thinking, how can we expose more people to these insights to help raise the standard in the whole real estate industry? We then realized that we could help bridge the gap by getting the secrets from the best of the best so that you can succeed. My name is Andrew Dunn.
And my name is Peter Michael. Welcome to Elite Agent Secrets.
Speaking about Panama, it's kind of a nice transition onto the second thing you wanted to speak about, which is actually the market in Florida, specifically, the immigration side, and it's just growing like crazy. So let's kind of unpack how that's affecting, obviously, all the building of these high rises, selling of condos, and let's just unpack that a little bit more.
So Florida is the fastest growing state in the union from perspective of percentage speaking. In population, it still is number 3 behind California and Texas, but it's growing at a rate of about 4.5% per year, as opposed to what it was before COVID, which was 3%. And so, taking into consideration all these factors, developers and builders are seeing the widespread opportunity of this growth. And they're exploiting it from luxury house, spec homes on the water, dry lots, to luxury high rises, to regular house communities between 700,000 and 1 million. There's just not enough product to go around. And I mean, I know one developer in Boca Raton, Florida, who does a lottery once or twice a month. He releases only so many lots and he invites like 30 people and he builds up the hype. And the highest bidder gets the lot and picks the house. But, it's an incredible marketing angle to do this when the demand is so high. Now, the demand tapered off a little bit in the summertime, but not by much. I mean, now that the cold weather is setting in again, a lot of people up north are thinking, oh my God, COVID's coming back. They're going to lock us out again. The same thing in Europe, the same thing in South America. I got to get south. I got to buy something.
Yeah. So with the expansion from 3 to 4.5%, do you think now, like you said, with the kind of the world opening back up with regards, Europe being able to head over there more and other countries, are you kind of anticipating that to rise further, from 4.5% and continue climbing? Or what's kind of your input on that? You've been in the market for so long now. What do you think?
I think there's going to be an increase in the short term for at least another year in the demand and the housing prices. I mean, do I think it's going to go over 5%? It's difficult to say because we have to first see what the demand from South America and from Europe is going to be when there's at least 30 days worth of travel statistics from those destinations. Then we can draw a more sound conclusion as to how we think our market is going to do. But I will tell you, if you base it on the hotel occupancy rates, which pre-COVID they were about 86%, and the norm usually, which makes it good to excellent, is 70% plus. And then once COVID hit, I think it went down to 56%. Well, based on the statistics in the last month, what they've been tracking for the last 3 months worth of time, they're at about a 73% occupancy, and we're heading into the season. So a lot of events are coming back. Art Basel, the International Boat Show, 2 boat shows actually, one in Fort Lauderdale, one in Miami. So these events are going to bring some high net worth individuals back into the fold that have missed out for about a year on these events. So the pent up demand and these things is we're expecting record breaking attendance at the events.
So Dan, real quick, you're looking at this from an international perspective and you're looking at it from the macro and the microeconomics. Why specifically in this market? Because I know you have a very unique approach. Like a lot of agents don't take all of these other factors into consideration, but you're really taking it from a high level. Is it just because there's a lot of foreign money in this market? Because I know that you also have other investments in other locations of the country, but you still take that same approach, whether it's Detroit, Philly, New York. Well, New York with a little bit of grain of salt there. But every single market that I've known you, you've always looked at it, even in the Colorado market, where I would assume there would be no international impact, but from your perspective, there is.
No, there is international impact. It's just in certain areas it's more than others. So all you have to do is basically start at the larger level in the United States and start drilling down from that perspective. The number three most desired cities for international travel in the United States are New York, Los Angeles, and Miami. Okay, I don't know in what specific order, but those are the three. And afterwards, you have others that have a huge amount of population. I mean, just to put it into perspective, pre-COVID, we had 40 million transits through the Miami International Airport in 2019. 40 million. 11 million cruise people, 7 million hotel rooms. I mean, I can go on and on with.
So like, where are you getting your stats? Like, what does that look like? Like, why is this important? Because we're trying to, I'm trying to bring to the audience the way you're looking at this. It also helps you essentially pick a direction with your business or what you're focused on. Like the pre-con luxury, most people are like, oh, I'm just going to go sell real estate. But you're like pre-con luxury because of these other factors that you're aware of. So like, how are you pinpointing that to affect your business specifically that you can share with the audience?
Well, basically, you've got to target the audiences in those countries. So you have to go to the cities that most of these travelers are originating from. The Board of Realtors releases statistics, I think in almost every market area, and shows you, especially the cities, and it shows you, okay, where the buyers are originating from. And so the Board of Realtors in Miami, I think, does it every 2 to 3 months, and they have a top 10 list, and they say, okay, these are the countries now, or these are the countries before. So you can see the dynamics as they're changing. And you can start targeting your online traffic and your ads for promoting certain things in those specific locations for projects. And it's fairly easy because all of that information that you're promoting, you get for free from the developer. Videos, the plan.
So it's actually a little bit easier because they give you the content, they give you the videos, the pictures, the plans, the quote unquote marketing brochure. Right. And they also give you probably a higher than most people expect type of commission to be negotiated as well, because they want to sell those buildings out because they sell them in phases, right?
Sometimes they sell them in phases and sometimes they don't. They go based and they analyze the demand. And so if the demand is there, some developer sees the opportunity and they keep things moving along all the time. And some of them don't.
So when you're working with the buyer, I know you have a specific process where you don't have to wait until the closing table, right? Because depending on with the pre-con, like some of the commission gets released when the contract gets signed, when they put some money down, so on and so forth. Depends on the schedules, right?
It varies. In most cases, you get them split up in thirds. So you get a third of your commission within 1 month after they sign the contract and they put their first deposit down. Then you get another third of the commission about a month after they start construction. And the last third of your commission comes within a couple of days after the closing when the construction is finished and they bring in the balance of the money. Some developers, however, decided that it was a better marketing idea to entice and to try to get more brokers on board by offering to pay their commissions, most of their commission or all of their commission, within a month or two after construction starts. And furthermore, they don't have any clawback clauses in their commission contracts. And a clawback clause, for people that don't know what that means, it's basically saying, hey, I have a client, they sign the contract, they put their deposit down, and we go to closing 3-4 years later, and you, the developer, paid me 6% commission in advance, and now the buyer defaults. Well, guess what? Before, I would have to give the money back. Now, because I don't have a no clawback in the contract, I don't owe anything back. He gets to keep his deposit, subtract my commission out, and the developer is still ahead with the money he keeps and the resale of the property. So for the broker and the developer, it's a win-win situation. The only person that loses here is the buyer if he doesn't want to close. But nobody's forcing the buyer not to close.
Sure.
Speaking of buyers, there's more of them than there is sellers, right? So how are you going about finding deals like right now? Obviously, the market, as we spoke about at the beginning of this call, is just the craziest thing we've ever seen. You've been in 18 years, it's the craziest market you've ever seen. So like, what strategies are you using, which I think is going to be super valuable to everyone, to go out and find a deal? If you want a new deal tomorrow, this week, next week, how are you gonna do it?
So in the past, about 7 years ago or more, most counties in the United States would do the foreclosure auctions in person. And so you used to have a group of, as I like to call them, the usual suspects, which would basically show up at the auctions and sometimes try to intimidate the new buyers and stay away from properties and try to drive up the prices with no intention to buy it, even after it went for a certain amount. Nowadays, that process has become very efficient. It's online. So I don't know, I'm not going to speak for every county, but the counties that I'm interested in, which is Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County, and Collier County on the West Coast, those are all online. So basically, I can buy a property there with a quick claim deed. And for those that don't know what a quick claim deed is, it's basically your right to own that property with all liabilities that are associated with that property, as opposed to a warranty deed where you're basically getting a property free and clear with no liens or encumbrances on the title. So in these three counties, you're not being given a guarantee. You have to basically do your due diligence in advance of bidding at the auction. So I was actually just talking to a title company today, working out a new process to have that due diligence in place and what the turnaround time is. So I can basically go out there, get my title searches done, and my due diligence within 48 hours at a $75 cost per property. I don't have to run more than maybe 20, let's say. And, I know exactly what I'm dealing with because I'm bidding on a property that's a quick claim deed. Private auctions, where the auction.com and hoobzoo.com, on those types of websites, in most cases, it's an auction. Yes, you win the auction, but at the same time, after you win the auction, you also have to sign a contract with the bank because it's a private auction, not a county auction. And there, by right of contract, you receive the warranty deed. So you're guaranteed no encumbrances or liens on the title when you do the closing. So you have to understand what type of auction you're dealing with and what kind of guarantees you get from the counties or municipalities when you're dealing with government-run auctions. There's cities that offer you guarantees that all the back taxes will be wiped out and all the water and utility bills will be wiped out. So really, you don't have much more. Just somebody that could come along and say, "Hey, I was the owner too." But in most cases, you're the new owner, even if they're trying to say, "I had an ownership right to the property." Once you forfeit for taxes, it's very difficult to try to lay claim back to that property. I mean, you have a redemption period of about depending on the location, 30 to 60 days. But once the redemption period is gone, you cannot contest the sale of that property, especially with a government entity. So the short answer to the question is the government auctions are the places you're going to get the best deals, but you better do your due diligence and you better do it correctly. I had a client once that said, "Oh my God, I bought a property worth $500,000 for $100,000." I said, "Bravo." I said, "You did a great job." I said, "Did you buy a first or a second mortgage?" He said, "What do you mean?" He said, "I bought a mortgage. It was a mortgage foreclosure." I said, "You better find out if it was a first or a second." Well, he found out the second day. He bought the second mortgage. So guess what happened? When the first bank foreclosed on it later, he got wiped out.
Wow. So it's basically, it's an
The deal
incredible
was too good to be
opportunity.
true.
It's an incredible opportunity, but you just got to be careful. You got to do your due diligence, like you've said, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what you have to do. Sorry. My apologies.
So then if you were talking about deals, how do you get into the $800 to $1 million types of listings, since we're talking about finding deals, right? That's a little bit of a different story and finding sellers. But you're extremely skilled at being at the higher end of the market, no matter what these circumstances are. I know you got some listings that are in 2.3, 2.5 million. You got some that are 800, 900, a million plus. If somebody's looking to like break into that market, other than, get a sphere, get referrals going, how do you get into that market? Because that's a different type of seller than the average $300,000, $400,000.
Okay, so basically, my biggest recommendation for somebody that's new in this business is you have to join a luxury company that, EWM Christie's, Sotheby's, Douglas Elliman. I'm talking about brands that I'm familiar with. And join a team. You have to join a luxury team, okay? And basically do the necessary steps that it takes in order to graduate to the next level. What that means is you have to have a good mentor. You have to figure out the systems that they're using, how efficient they are, how inefficient they are. And it takes time to do this. And not only that, but when you get to the point where you have to partner up with somebody, you guys have to have the vision together and then try to implement it in a reasonable amount of time so that you can seize on certain opportunities, because those opportunities are not going to wait for you. Like, for example, the sale of a pre-construction property is not going to wait for you. You've got to promote it, immediately if you want to seize on the opportunity of getting that market share. The other thing to do is because advertising for these types of properties is a unique endeavor, especially these days with such a fluid internet market and social media platforms. You've got to figure out how to utilize those to be the most effective. And it is time consuming. It requires days, weeks of time. And, a salesperson should only be doing one thing: on the phone selling, okay? Or in person selling. Anything else that you're doing, I wouldn't say is inefficient. What I would say is it's not your job description as the leader of that team, as the main person of that team, okay? Those are secondary functions for people that you can delegate to, okay? This person specializes in internet and social media. They should be the one on it. This one's a telemarketer. They should be on telemarketing and calling, for listings. And the other thing is, calling for listings. But you got to get those appointments, and that takes time being on the phone. Peter and I, we both have ISAs, and we're always trying to evolve and improving those ISAs. That stands for Independent Sales Associate. They're the in-house ones. So they would get our appointment so we can go to the listing and then, try to show these potential sellers, hey, I'm not a typical agent. What does that mean? I'm not going to market your property and throw it in the MLS and let it linger there. So some other agent going to come and bring me the thing. If it happens, great. But we're going to be proactive. We're going to market this property across as many platforms that we possibly can to make it stand out. And we're going to do a professional job at it. Okay, we're not just going to take pictures with iPhones that have bad light, bad shadow, no, we have a quality control process. Here are the pictures, professional. Here's the drone, professional. Here are the interior videos, professional. If you have a $27 million property, example, and it's a boater's paradise, well, I'm going to make a video. And not just a video of a house. I want to make a video of a lifestyle. So I want to put in a nice couple in there. Okay. A nice car or two, a nice boat. And I want to invite people that can help me sell my property, and it's going to benefit them too. Why? Because it helps them promote their boat. It helps them promote their modeling agency. It helps them promote their car rental agency for luxury cars, and so on. So you
got to really paint the dream, right? Because if you're not going to paint the dream, you're not going to set that. Buyers have a very, very hard time visualizing themselves on the property. And if you don't remove the personal items from the property, you're making it that much harder for yourself, for them to picture themselves in that property. So when you create what you're talking about is that lifestyle video, is you're showing them the potential, the possibility of what it will look like and feel like inside of that property at that time when they own it, right?
Correct.
So when you're sitting down with a seller in order to get into that listing, talk to us a little bit about, with the time that we have left, what does that look like? How are you conveying that message? Because I know you're not just walking in there and saying, hey, we're going to do a lifestyle video, because they're going to be like, what is a lifestyle video? Why is all of this? Why are you going to take a portion of your commission? You're going to invest it into marketing this property. And what does that conversation look like when you're explaining, for example, to the seller that has a $27 million property? I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
So we can use that as an example of why they should list with you, and what does that whole journey look like?
So first of all, we're going to show them how we run our ads. We're going to tell them that almost 90 whatever percent, almost all of our ads are visual, whether it's static or video. Okay. And the other thing is, if that house has ever been on the market before, the first thing I want to know from them is, what didn't you like about what your previous agent did? What didn't they give you besides the sale that you felt was detrimental to selling that property? I want to hear the ugly, the bad, and then I want to hear the good at the end, not the other way around. Okay. So I want the feedback. I want you to confide in me and to tell me, okay, you're the owner. Your opinion matters. It's your property. Tell me what that person didn't do. Why weren't they? So then we take that and then we digest it and we get back to them with a plan. I mean, if we can sign them on the spot, we're certainly going to try that angle immediately if we sense that we have a receptive audience and a captive audience in that person. We're not going to wait for, let me come back with a strategy. No, I'm going to seize the moment at that point. But if I feel that I have to say to him, now that I understand where you are, where you stand, I think it's fair to say that in order for you to make a sound decision, you need an intelligent marketing plan. And in order for me to do that plan, I've got to go back, get it done, write it up, and come back to you and give you exactly the feedback based on the answers that you gave me. And some people are, they're kind of taken aback that I would actually go out of my way to take into consideration these types of factors and then follow through on them. It shows them that I care about their opinion. Even if my marketing isn't explained 100%. Just the fact that I'm being empathetic um, to their goals and their feelings matters a lot when it comes to take a listing. I think it's probably the most important factor that listing agents overlook. They go in there like robots and they spit out what they were taught by their coaches and their teams, and they forget about the human element. Okay, you need to hold that person's hand. I'm talking.
This goes back to the old school method of feel, felt, found, right?
Yeah.
You're shutting up, you're listening, you're gathering all that data. If appropriate, you're striking when the iron is hot. But then at the same time, you're patient and you're very deliberate and you're very purposeful of when to pull out the contract and say, sign on the dotted line. Just to be clear, this is not the same strategy when you are walking into a $200,000 listing. Like you're in and out, 15 minutes, sign on the paperwork. Like you don't need to do these extravagant marketing and all this other stuff. This is specifically for higher end luxury properties where if you can sign it on the spot because of how extremely competitive it is, but you also want to do something that sets you apart. That's really what it's about. Right.
Agreed. And the other thing is that that sometimes you have to come to understand that if you want to get the listing, in some cases, especially on these higher end type thing, you're dealing with people that are masters of negotiating, because some of them are CEOs of companies, or some other high-profile type of lifestyle and situation. So they're not used to just letting you walk all over them. They're going to try to negotiate. So they may push the commission down. And if that's ultimately, no matter how much of a marketing angle and due diligence angle you present to them, ultimately, if they think that the commission is the deciding factor, you have to, if he asks, you within reason, 10%, 15%, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, say, okay, if I'm taking that discount, then, okay, you're going to have to pay for expenses.
So you don't just give in, right? It's a little bit of a give and take
I try
at the
to give
same
them
time.
An alternative, right? I try to give them an alternative, or you put timelines on it. If I sell it in this much amount of time, you pay me this much amount of commission. If I sell in this much time, you pay me this much. If I blow it out of the water and I sell in the first week, you pay me my commission and a bonus. This way I'm up against the clock.
Performance-based commission.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
That's the first time we're hearing that.
That's good. I like that.
So I'm in a seller's market, I got no problem putting my money where my mouth is. If you list and we agree on a price, and it's not you overlisting by more than 10% or better in the market, I'm tempted to give that guarantee. If you don't, and you want to overlist and over ask on the price, then I can't give you the guarantee, because it's going to be an uphill battle, and we both know that.
Got it. That's actually that is a first for me, actually, and that's a real. We like I've been known to do performance-based stuff in my past, because the one thing that being performance like that is money where your mouth is the phraseology I use as well. But what it means is like, listen, I'm fucking confident I can deliver. So if I deliver as good as I know, you're going to pay me more. And then if I'm not as good, you pay me less. That's fine. But listen, I am willing to bet on my upside. What's interesting is it tends to make them second guess, because they then go, hang on. He's now saying
that guarantee. That's the next question you ask him. I'm giving you something that nobody else is going to give you.
That's a real standout feature.
Yeah. Okay. I had somebody tell me you can have something fast, good, or cheap, but you can only pick two. And the thing that you're hitting on here, Dan, is it's like a salsa or tango, right? Like you got to dance with them a little bit. It's not okay, let me drop my pants and lower my commission, right, to get the deal done, because that's what every other agent is. That's their go-to. You're coming from a different perspective of like, I'm not going to drop my pants for you. However, let's dance here a little bit and figure out how we can find a win-win solution. I'm performance driven. You're performance driven. You want this off your table. I want to make sure that I walk it all the way to the bank, get you the right buyer in here all at the same time in record time. So I'm okay putting my money where my mouth is.
Yes, agreed, 100%. So Peter has the same vision when it comes to certain things as I have. Okay, obviously we have our differences in the approach, and he's much more tech savvy than I am. I mean, by leaps and bounds.
That's okay. That's why we make a great team.
but at the same time, ultimately creativity and knowing how to figure out a different way around certain issues is ultimately the best way to try to market, to try to approach I don't ever want to walk away from something and say that I didn't put my best foot forward in trying to make a sound presentation. I mean, not at all. Like, if I lose business to somebody, it's totally like, what could have done better in order so that this doesn't happen the next time? Because you're going to get to a point where you're going to perfect the art, and that's an ongoing process. It's never going to stop. It's never going to end. It's in a lot of people, they look upon, say, okay, well, there's a lot of BS in this. Well, the real estate agent really, what work do you do? Well, to tell you the God's honest truth, is probably one of the most difficult jobs because you have to wear so many hats. You're not just a real estate agent. You're a concierge. I'm sorry to have to tell you this. That's what you are. You're a counselor and a concierge to your clients. Okay, they want
especially when you're in the top end of the market, right? Like the client expectation is totally different. Like if they call you, sorry to tell you guys, it's in the middle of the night asking XYZ ABC. I know for a fact that you have gotten on a plane, in the car, and done what I probably would have never guessed to make sure that you're taking out, especially when you have clients that are international that are coming in, because I know you have a lot of international buyers as well.
Yeah, you do it because it's part of the relationship-based business that you're in. You have to understand that, okay? Need an attorney for immigration. You need an attorney for banking. You need a bank. You need a private bank. You need a wealth management bank. I need an appraiser. I need an inspector. I need a title company. Where can I rent this kind of car from? Where can I get this kind of boat from? Do you know any company that does private flights from Miami to New York that I can get a good deal on for this many people? How about this restaurant? How about this nightclub? How about, and okay, nobody expects you to say, oh, I've got it for every single request. But
with time, and as you're in the business, you acquire those.
Yeah, you better have it for most of them. And sometimes it's not just, oh, here's the phone number, go ahead, take it, and I'll, and tell them I sent you. No, they expect you or your assistant or one of your team members to basically set up the thing.
Call, make a reservation, get it done.
Yeah, they're not going to tell you, hey, sometimes they may, but you're really a concierge. You're a concierge, and you have to understand that if you're going to have any success. Okay, if you're somewhere in the middle class America where it's a local market, no, it's kind of like, okay, I sell your home, and yeah, I see you, and you invite me over every now and then for a wine or a coffee or something, and that's pretty much it. It's not such an intensive service demand as it is in the market here.
I think that's a nice way to kind of wrap it up and give you the stage finally as well. But it's, for me, what that means is like, yes, you get paid a way bigger commission. And yes, you do far less transactions per year for a GCI goal that you might have. But then on the flip side, there is far more that actually goes into each deal. So like if you're wanting to get into this, It's harder to get into, obviously, and we've explored some ways that they can do that. But ultimately, like, you've got to be committed to going. If you right now, if you want like a lifestyle real estate business where, 9 to 5, you don't want to do weekends and all that, maybe luxury is not for you. If getting up at 2 a.m. to deal with the people in the UK or, wherever it is, Arab Emirates or wherever, it's like, that's not for you. Don't do it. The commissions are worth it. The money's there. But ultimately, this will fit a certain type of person willing to make certain sacrifices in their life to actually get those commissions. So with that being said, Dan, if people want to get in touch with you, they want to reach out, they want to learn more about luxury, whatever it may be, like, how could they get in touch with you? Could be phone, email, Facebook, whatever you want.
MiamiRealEstateTrends.com is the website. For Instagram, they can find me also on Miami Real Estate Trends. And for getting in touch with me, they can certainly call me at 954-807-1224, and we'll definitely be able to help them out.
Perfect. Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure. You've really dropped some bombs in the luxury space. You are actually our first person on our podcast who's had a real luxury focus. So, you pop that cherry, you take that honor from the Elite Agent Secrets podcast. So it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you for all the information. And thank you everyone for listening. And we'll see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for listening to this episode. Now, before you go, we're giving access to a private training we did where we revealed the top 3 niches to get listings today completely for free. So if you want access, you can go and download that training at eliteagentsecrets.com. We're regularly releasing new trainings, guides, and cheat sheets, so make sure to head over to eliteagentsecrets.com and sign up so you don't miss out.